Today's first one is Jared Scharf from Pearl Lion and Saturday Night Live band.
Yay!
Yeah. So I just got a couple questions for him, and hopefully he'll give us some really good answers, and then we'll all vote on how good it was at the end. Does that sound good? All right, Jared. So guitar-wise, what your upbringing and what did you study to be able to do what you do?
That's a great question, Colt.
Thank you. I thought of it in the booth over here 20 minutes before you got here.
That's a great question to start with. I like it. You're very prepared. What did I study? Well, I started taking lessons from the get-go, learning chords and Zeppelin songs and all that kind of basic stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually led to, the basics, major scales and pentatonic stuff and some theory and more chords. Eventually learned jazz theory to get into college because I was going to go to school for music.
Where'd you go to college?
I was at the Hart School of Music for a year, and then I transferred to NYU. And I just kept learning it in college, like at a college level, like theory and reading and all that stuff. And outside of school, I basically played in rock bands and jammed and did all kinds of styles. So all of that kind of led me to getting the job on SNL, where I was able to, I could play funk. I learned blues back in the day. I learned some jazz stuff. I learned, so I was kind of well-versed. Not great at any of it, but kind of got through a bunch of it.
Yeah. Whatever, you're sweet. What albums were most influential to you? And if for somebody learning how to play guitar, what albums would you send to them?
Honestly, Live at Great Woods, the Allman Brothers, was kind of my Bible.
Okay, yeah.
It was all about, that's kind of how I learned how to solo and create and start a solo and how to make a climax and do all that thing. And I was able to practice a lot of my modes because, they do Mixolydian, major, Dorian, all that kind of stuff within one bluesy, pentatonic, kind of easy, simple thing. So that to me is that was my biggest thing.
Cool.
When I was young.
And is that more important than pedals? It's a joke.
I think, just to touch on that, my feeling is that learning guitar is incredibly important, but also exploring and learning how to use sound is also equally as important. And it's all about what you want to do and what you want to sound like, and ultimately that's the goal of of all the music. So it doesn't matter what it's what you make, create.
Yeah, it's almost like this, it needs to be like an equal flow of both to be an effective musician or effective guitar player, like tone exploration, but also knowledge and theory exploration as well. And I think a lot of people are either heavy on one or the other, but really it's the guitar players that make a difference are the ones that devote time to both, not just pedals and gear and Craigslist obsessions, but studying guitar and studying albums, right?
Yeah, actually, I was talking about this on the way here with my buddy Dan Kalischer, who has been demoing at Walrus.
He's so great.
He is great. Some of my favorite guitar players are not technically great guitar players. I actually
I was about to ask, well, who is that? But now you can't say.
Right. We can use an example of a great guitar player who used technology and created a whole different lane, The Edge.
Yes.
I don't know what his jazz soloing ability is or his shredding ability is, but who the F cares?
Right.
He played Streets Have No Name.
He's in U2.
He creates the most beautiful sonic stuff ever, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Okay, tell us the version of how you landed the SNL gig. Not just for a good story, but for somebody pursuing music and getting paid from it. Tell us the story on how you landed the SNL gig.
So I wasn't getting paid for it.
Okay.
As most of us struggle with. So there was many, many years of not making any money. And I happened to know the previous guitar player. he had recommended me, because obviously even though I wasn't making money at the time, I was gigging all the time and I was out there and I was playing and people knew who I was. So I'd met, Dr. Luke. He had, I sent him some stuff throughout the year or whatever. He recommended me. Through that, I had to send YouTube videos first. Then I had to audition with the band leader privately, just like me and him, like for 3 hours going through music, talking.
Which is probably really easy for you and just like not unnerving at all, right?
That was, I had to play through the worst amp ever and it was broken, so it was pretty terrible. And then that got me to my final audition, which was with the whole rhythm section. And that was really exciting. And we played a bunch of songs and then that was it.
There you go. Fantastic.
From broke to no joke.
It's like they're going to write a song. What does practice look like for you?
I don't practice.
Okay, cool. Next question.
I hate practicing.
Great.
I've always hated practicing.
Great.
I have never practiced.
I love it. That's great. And I love how
But
raw
I jam.
that is.
I jam.
Okay, what does jamming look like for you? How do you prep and jam?
So jamming is, when I was younger, it was like putting on these albums, these records, and just soloing and copying what they were doing and also doing my own stuff. And then eventually, as I got older and started learning more stuff from teachers in school, the jamming was more like educated jamming. So I was trying to like put in practice some of those things that I was learning, but I never spent too much time actually trying to do that. I did as much as I could. I got ADD, I can't really do that.
You just like to play guitar, so you ended up playing guitar by yourself.
Yeah,
it's like room.
It's like if you jam enough and try to like use some of the things you learn, eventually you'll get a little bit of it down.
Yeah.
It's just like
I like that.
The law of averages, I guess, at that point.
Law of averages, everybody.
Here at Walrus, the law of averages.
I have 2 more questions. I know there's a lot of people kind of like, I think we're in society's in a part where we're struggling to find our identity. And I think there's one center point where all of us kind of go back to, and I think for most of us it's Full House. And so like we all relate to a character in Full House.
Joey.
Okay, so I was about to say, what character from Full House like do you resonate with and kind of identify with?
I'm like insane like Joey, but I'm also neurotic like Danny. But like I can be kind of like badass like Uncle Jesse. Yeah. But then I'm also like the twins.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, it's like we all want to be Uncle Jesse, and we all try to channel Uncle Jesse, but deep down, like we're Bob Saget.
You and I are mostly Joey and Bob Saget. Let's be real.
Yeah. No, I think it's
just the way it is.
I think it's really helpful. And then last question: flat Earth or sphere Earth?
Damn it.
This was good. Thanks so much for coming today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Sharp, everybody. SNL. Woo! Good dude, good soul, as well as a good influential guitar player. All right.
Thanks for coming out.